Three, two, one. Back at it again. CardFaxx, Uncut, sports card collector, Peter Pac-Man. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Just sitting here in the lab. Had to take care of some family stuff this morning, like cleaning up, getting that stuff done. So I'm just happy to be in my space and just connect, man, and recap on a week and think about next week.
Yeah, that was me last week, right? That was me last week. You were waiting on me last week I was trying to get the family together and the kids together. I thought I woke up early enough to do everything, but once you get started doing something else, and that's one thing we both understand and appreciate is we're going to prioritize family first and
Oh yeah,
foremost. You know what I mean?
most
So,
definitely.
yeah,
From
that
from the
understanding is
moment
there.
from the moment I woke up, it was like, all right, get her situated, brush the teeth, wash the face. All right, let's start cleaning up your room. You know what I mean? So that way,
Yeah.
when I have this time, I can enjoy it. And I ain't got to worry about any other stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
Well, I'm happy. Last time we got a lot of positive feedback. Last time, a lot of people were definitely loved the conversation. I think the
yeah,
different angles that we would take, or the different things that we were talk about, that's not normally discussed in the hobby. You know what I
yeah,
mean? While we like to talk about all the things that
yeah,
it's in the hobby as far as value and trending and hype, all of these are a part of our discussions. But we like to highlight areas where we feel need value placed on, or at least need some education or some,
yeah.
yeah, placed
It,
on.
it's
So we,
it's definitely it's definitely interchangeable. You know what I mean? Like when I was thinking about our conversation last week, I was like, yeah, we talked about the hobby, but we also talked about life. Because a lot of those innate things that we do in the hobby, that's all a part of our daily transactions as people.
facts.
Um, so if you're not practicing those innate things that speak to dignity, that speak to belonging, that speak to celebrating someone's path in this space, um, you're deviating from those innate things that come natural to us as human beings. So it's all transferable, man. It's all transferable, um, and I'm just excited to like continue this conversation and just to catalog not only our experiences but the shared experiences that we learn about from the different people that we connect with in this space and even outside of this space. Because again, it's all transferable and it's all about life lessons.
Yeah.
Um, and how we can truly like one thing that I think about, like we throw that word community around a lot, and like to truly live by what that means when you're a collector and you participate in this space with other collectors, to truly be a community and do whatever it takes to be a community. And if someone isn't living by those standards, like we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable in a way where like, yo, we gotta call you to the carpet, not to embarrass you, but it's a form of accountability where we can all get better
Facts.
and own what we talk about. Um, so I'm very appreciative of that.
Facts.
Yeah,
Big
and
facts.
I appreciate all the love from folks that you and I both connect with. I know I saw a comment from uh, Cindy Dix, um,
Yeah.
which I truly appreciate her. I got something nice that I'm doing this week to celebrate her, and Garcia Studios, just like everybody who just like dropped a honest comment, and I mean I appreciate it. Gratitude to everyone.
Yep. Shout out Gracious Studio. Shout out Giant Legends, Cindy Dick. Shout out Box Socks, Cousins Collectibles, Dano, and Ricky Central, and plenty more people who've been showing love and encouragement and inspiration too. I want everybody to know that the same way they reach out and they have the courage to say these kind things, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
in words of endearment, or just to let us know how they feel. I hope they know that exchange of energy also sparks us, you know what I mean, and without it, I don't know how much energy we'd be able to deliver ourselves, to be honest, you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
And I think the thing that's most inspiring, even to the folks who don't look like you and I, and we talk about things like race, white supremacy as it relates to life and even in a hobby, for them to like just take a moment to listen and not personalize and not say, you know what, this is not about me, but I'm gonna take the time to hear what these two men are talking about. For me, that's magical. Even if you disagree with me or not, but the
Right.
fact that you took the time to listen and engage, or ask a question, I I couldn't ask for a better I couldn't ask for better feedback or just better love. So
That's how we learn. And that's the part you said about being held accountable, right?
yeah,
So you're allowed to ask questions, you're allowed to learn. We want to learn,
yeah,
challenge us at the same time. When I was on earlier, I got the screen working now. You know what I mean? To where we can share the screen. If you say something, give me 30 seconds, I'll be
yeah,
able to put it up there and we can, the viewers will be able to see it at the same time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So yeah, we moving now.
yeah.
But earlier, yeah, I was telling people the same exact thing that you were saying, bro. So
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely, definitely magical. But last night, right, I was just in my zone. We was like family. We were watching movies, hanging out, and once everybody settled down, you know me, I'm always thinking about the hobby because the hobby is like it's my passion. Along, like I have, I would say I have three passions in this world besides like aspiring to be a good husband and a good father and a good person. That's cards, that's education, and that's like my hoop dreams. Not saying like I don't want to be a professional basketball player, but to continue to play a game that potentially like saved my life and helped change my life. Um, so whenever I have a moment to like just think about like the content that I want to put out and like creating content where I'm like every piece of work that I create as it relates to the hobby, I just want to make sure I'm being my authentic self and sharing what the space means to me and sharing my moments in the most authentic way. And I don't want to say like copycatting off someone because I think it's good that we celebrate the folks that inspire us, but just always being true to the things that I write and say. Um, and I just want to hear your thoughts on
Specifically on what? Give me a straight question.
it. Just like in this space, there are a lot of
Uh-huh.
content creators.
Okay.
Everybody is creating content. And for me, when I decided, like when I came back to the hobby, um, like you know, when you first interviewed me, I was like, oh, I want to sell cars, and then I realized that wasn't who I am. That's
Right.
not who I am. That's not me being authentic. Me being authentic is sharing my hobby experiences, talking about what cards mean to me, talking about the moments I had to connect with folks and meet new folks. So like you are a huge content creator. You know what I mean? Every day you're pumping out content. What goes through your mind as you're thinking about like before you hit that share button? Like, do you think about like, all right, this me, Peter Pac-Man, being my authentic self, and I'm creating this to expose more people to what the hobby is all about, not just collecting, but just from the side of like being creative.
At first, no. To start, I was literally doing it selfishly. Nothing wrong with that. We were creating content. At first, the content creation started with Slabby, with Marcus and myself, taking movies like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, uh, uh, all these types of movies that we grew up above the rim, we grew up watching, and putting a hobby twist on them,
Yeah,
right? So so we thought it was funny. We literally said we're gonna do it because us two thought it was funny, right?
yeah,
And then Javid thought it was funny. So then from there, we were like, wow, we're gonna do this for us three, and then for anybody else who thinks it's funny. But then, like you said, then it became a point to where, wow, not only can we be funny, we can add some education in here. We can add some marketing, some promotion in here. We can try a whole bunch of different things. You know what I mean? So I say more now. So when I'm creating content, it's 50-50. I'm not, there's a whole bunch of different, sometimes I just do it because I think it's going to be funny. Sometimes I'm real intentional about, the lesson, you know what I mean, or wanting people to think. Like the other day, my son and I made one. about, and like I also try and, especially when it's about education in our past and history, as it pertains to the trading card and the hobby, I like to have the actual card. And as you know, like in the late 1800s, there were cards, and early 1900s, there were cards with slaves on them. So my son and I made a content the other day, acting like our granny, his great grandmother, and my granny was explaining the historical lineage between the slave on the card, you know what I mean? And
Wow.
we used the funny sound that was on Instagram, you know what I mean? That people were using, a trending sound.
Yeah.
I I try to stay away from trending. Well, no. When I first started making content, I was all over the trending sounds because I thought it was funny, not because I wanted it to catch, right?
Yeah.
And then I said, why am I using all these trending sounds when we make our own music?
Yeah.
I'm that's why I was, for a while, I wasn't making new content. I was sharing content and only making content with our music, because I was saying, like, we make sounds. Why am I using other people's sounds? But then I saw Two Thirds Card Break. Shout out Two Thirds. The content they make, I felt like they took what we did to another level. You know what I mean? I felt
Yeah.
like they added so much flavor and sauce to it, that it kind of motivated me. And I told him that Two Thirds and I, we like brothers already in this thing. You know what I mean? And we both give each other flowers about how we inspire each other in the same breath. But the educational aspect is fun. Being able to add something in there that makes people think, that makes me think. And anytime you do anything about historical, or about a card about a woman or something like that, people are either going to ignore it, or they're going to have to go search it and Google it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you don't hear these names all the time. You don't hear these stories told all the time, but they're facts. They have cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It happened. They have a story that that slave on the card was an actual human being
Yeah.
picking actual cotton and or tobacco and or a whole bunch of other things. You know what I mean? So
To your point, right? And I think, and I would say this: you actually inspired me to create content when I first like came across your page, and you and I had that honest conversation about like who's this dude? I never knew, like, because when I first came back to the hobby, I didn't really see anyone who looked like me, and then when I
right.
came across your page, I was just like, what? Like, is this really who he is, or is this like for show? And we had our conversation, and I had my honest moment with you, apologizing for judging you, and everything. And I was just thinking about, like, as I go into this space and place and like creating hobby, what is it that I want to tell people, right? And what is it that I truly want to share? And I think that's the thing that I pick up from you the most, because you touch on a lot of different aspects of the hobby, and that helped me really find my pathway as it relates to like creating content. And I just want to like share passion and talk about like what cards do for me, and the expressions that it creates, like on my face, and the feeling that it gives me throughout my body. So I definitely want to give you your flowers and shout you out for being like that turning point for me, as I was thinking about like, who am I in this space now in the 21st century, as it relates to like collecting. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I always think about, like when I see like people create like dope content, and people like being true to themselves, especially when you get the opportunity to get to know them, and talk to them,
Yeah.
exchange messages to them. And just my message to anybody coming into a hobby, wanting to share their cards or wanting to create content, always, I always feel like, and I always say this to myself whenever I create something or share a card, I say, Sam, be who you are, be who you want to
Yep. Yep.
be, you know? And I think for me, that's the most inspiring thing, because it's like every time I do something new, I'm looking at a blank canvas, and I'm just like creating, man. And definitely, someone said, be yourself and the content will flow. I totally agree. I
Yep.
totally agree.
Yep. You have to be yourself.
Running
You have to
basketball.
be yourself.
Yep, I totally
Yeah.
agree.
You have to be yourself, because I think I was the same way when I first jumped back into the hobby. And like I said, I've always been collecting. I never stopped. I consider myself a closet collector. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But when I got back into the social realm of the hobby, I too was a follower. I too
yeah,
wanted to buy and sell and do everything I still think it's cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I still
Oh,
think it's
definitely
valuable.
dope.
I
Make your
still
money.
think it's dope. But
Make your
it
money.
came a point, I no lie, and Slabby will tell you, we're gonna write a book about it, hopefully a movie one day. We were right on the other side of this studio, makeshift studio, and we had access to all of the retail wax we wanted. We were making hobby box buys years before and being able to flip stuff because of the pandemic for multiple X's, you know what I mean? But we literally said, man, it this is cool. Like we know we can do this now, but what's missing? Like what else can we bring to everybody's doing this? And there are
Yeah,
awesome people doing it better, people we're learning from, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But what can we bring that no one else is bringing? Like what
yeah,
can we do? And through our research and studying of the hobby and what's been missing and what other markets have, we chose to implement several different things and bring to the hobby. You know what I mean? So with one of them being music. So
all I gotta say is that Slabby song, "Hobby Olden," man,
Hobby Old, yeah.
man, "Hobby Old." Pardon my me mispronouncing that word, man. I listened to that joint like several times, like straight bars, fire, man.
Slabby is like people Slabby is a problem. Like no lie, Slabby might be the best artist on earth. I'm gonna say that. You can rank me 10 million in two or 10 billion in two. Right? But Slabby, you name any artist, you give Slabby the same studio, same engineer, same
Yeah.
producer, night night, night night,
And
night night.
you know what's crazy about that song?
And
Like,
Rip go crazy too. What?
you know what's crazy about that song? Like, I even like shut the beat out of my head because the beat is dope. I just listen to his words. His bars are articulate. You could tell Slabby's being his authentic self. And the reason why I'm talking about Slabby, just another example of like being in this space, especially when you're a person of color and just being your authentic self. Because it all goes back to those like innate things. Like we all share innate qualities, right?
Yeah.
We all share these characteristics and these values. The key is, are we nurturing them every day? And I think those are the things that inspire me to stay persistent in my hobby journey and keep pushing the the envelope in terms of like when I write, just being authentic about sharing my stories, or when I'm creating like a piece of content as it relates to, you know, sharing the journey of collecting a card. It's just like, yeah,
Right.
this is the one. This is dope.
Yeah.
And 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 I do it like even if no one like sees it or likes it or not. Not that I care about it going viral. It's just the fact that if it reaches one person that inspires them or like helps them like embrace the hobby or get curious about the hobby, I'm all for it.
All for it. Gotta be.
I'm all for it.
And that's what hopefully that's what it does too, is bring somebody they're able to relate in a way that's more than the cards, you know what I mean? Or in another way. And see that it's just humans liking something. You feel me?
And I consume a lot of like card content, and this pieces of card content that I just like skim over because I'm just like, nah, it ain't for me. Or
Yeah.
like when I feel like it comes across as like minstrel show type, when like someone is being a caricature, and I was like, nah, that's not for me. I don't want to partake in that.
Facts. Facts. Let's get to these comments. Hold on, let me text the lady real quick. I forgot. The
Yeah.
kids, our two youngest, got picked to get free pictures at some picture spot where they pick family pictures. They're going to use their pictures to as the ones they put inside the store and stuff, and then
Okay.
we get free pictures at the same time. But I forgot I got to cut my son's hair before, so I probably got
Got
another
it. Got
15
a
minutes on
young
here.
got young models on your head.
Yeah, 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 young, yeah. My two oldest, our two oldest, they're already on every other commercial on TV. They on Netflix shows, movies. They've done everything. My two oldest are crazy.
Uh,
They they in it. The youngsters don't even try, and they in it too. So, let's get to some of these people in the comments,
Yeah.
real quick. Let's see. We seen Brian Basketballs. Be yourself, and the content will flow for sure.
Fact.
Ed the Sun, knowledge is power in cards for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge and history in the cards, and I didn't know how to learn my own history or history in general until I met Cindy Dick, Giant Legends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Until I saw all the cards that she had that I had no idea existed. And then I studied these women. I'm like, wow, these women cards date back further than the men's cards. Or all the history that I'd done prior to learning about women's cards started off here. But when I started learning about women's cards, it dated back further and further back in the history type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least women's history, if not necessarily
Yeah.
the cards, just women being prevalent in history. So yeah, knowledge is power for sure. Brian, stay consistent on your uploads. If only one video a week, do it same day, same time. Set schedule to upload so you can be there for the premiere. Ooh, that sounds like some professional analytic game.
Yeah.
Me,
I,
I just
I,
drop 50 every time I feel like it. That's it. Me, I studied the analytics and I say F the analytics. That's me. Like, no, but the analytics work though. I don't want people to
yeah.
think that I say F it because they don't work. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't
Nah,
do it for the I
you
don't
be
do it
you.
because I want it to hit more eyes. If it hits, it's gonna hit the eyes it's supposed to.
One
It's
thing that I know about you, bro, you turn comments like you turn to butter, man.
yeah.
You put content out there like daily. I know me. I just have a schedule because I like taking the time to like think about what I'm doing and just
Yeah.
I like to write because for me, writing about the hobby is like a real form of liberation because it also pushes me to write and think about other things. So um, that's the way that I stay consistent. Brian basketball is just having that 1 week on, 1 week off, and then also like having moments throughout any wave, like content wave that I'm doing, just to like take a break and enjoy the hobby and like see what others are doing because it's not just about me. There's a lot of like dope people in this space creating like great content that just centers around like learning about certain cards, um, especially like cards from the '90s that in the aftermath when I left the hobby, I didn't really see anymore. So to me, it's like I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm like, what? I didn't know about that insert. And I think the '90s had some of the best inserts, best inserts ever. Even though it was quote unquote the junk wax era. You know what I mean? So um, definitely try to like stay consistent, but also take the time to just like see what others are doing and support them and appreciate them because like putting stuff out there it's a form of vulnerability. Not that like I care about people judging me because it is what it is. I'm a black man in America. I get judged every day. I work in a predominantly white institution, which is the educational system. So, but it's a form of vulnerability to be like, I want to share something that's special with me to the world.
Facts. Facts. Brian Basketball's connecting your own chat. Your bus riders will love it. That's a fact. Brian's spitting facts.
Yeah,
Like fact after fact after fact. Of course, engagement matters. Making
yeah,
people feel even you should always value, like you said, human capital. We must value each other, right? But even if you don't value somebody, make them feel valued.
yeah.
You can still smile at them. You can still ask them how they're doing, even if you don't care. It goes a long way.
And you can call me on this. The one thing that I always take the time to do, um, I take the time when someone comments on anything that I create. I like it. I like their comment, and then I always respond to their comment.
Yeah.
Just like showing gratitude because, like, not only did you take the time to view this piece that I created, because I don't necessarily like, I didn't jump on that trend of like creating like, because I know Instagram went away from like the videos, the, like IG videos, and everybody has to make a reel. So
Yeah, they're going away
I don't,
from the post.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I haven't like jumped on that train of like, let me encapsulate this all in like 30 or 45 seconds. I still put out the 2 to 3 minute video
Good.
because I think it's
Yeah.
important for people to hear that story. Um, But I always take the time to recognize folks who take the time to give me take 3 minutes to view something that I created. And if they drop a comment, anything, I'm always like sharing gratitude, because that means a lot. It means a
Yep.
lot. And it's only right that I acknowledge it.
And I like that. I actually like the longer videos. I remember back in late 2020, maybe early 2021, I was talking to probably one of the top content in my eyes, content creator, not just on a hobby level, but just his brain, the way he's able to take current events not only in the hobby, but in real life, and make hobby content out of him. Lamine James, shout out Lamine James.
Yeah.
But I remember a long time ago, uh, um, in late 2020, I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, bro, man, like, what? Give me some feedback on the videos that I'm doing." At this point, we were only making
Yeah.
movies for the most part, 5-minute videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, people's attention span, bro. This is 2020, 2021. People attention span, they like it short and quick. That's the ones that hit. That's the algorithms." He was spitting all
Yeah.
facts. You feel me? But I was like you. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. And I tried it. Not gonna say I don't try it and I don't implement it sometimes, but it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't care if everybody's not gonna watch it. That's cool. You know what I mean? Then it's not for everybody. Then it's
Yeah.
for who it is. I'm gonna still make them 2-minute, 3-minute thangers, but I definitely want to add the 7-second and 30-second and 1-minute ones to the tool belt. But I'm not thinking about that when I'm making videos. I don't think, all right, this has to be this time. That's all right. This is the sound. How am I gonna make it happen? Or this, you know what I mean? This is how I'm gonna do it. I never think about time, or never say, oh, it's too long, so I'm not gonna post it. Nah, I always try and keep things just the
So
same.
so with that, here's my top 3 Peter Pac-Man like reels. The ones that I love, the ones that like
I got one today. Wait till the one you see today. Ooh.
the ones that make me think, the ones that like if I need a laugh. So my number 1, I'm gonna start with my number 3. My number 3 was the one where like people stealing from the hobby store, and it goes to the next scene. They're like waking up, and you standing over top of the bull stove. It's like, you okay? There you go to jail. So that's number 3. My number 2 one, and this is how you know, like I look at a lot of your content. My number 2 one was the one where your wife and your son had the water in their mouth, and they were doing the penny sleeves.
Yeah, slapping each other with the penny sleeves.
I was dying. I was thinking in my mind, like, yo, this is the only time he can get away with smacking mom and don't get in trouble.
Hey, that was a moment right there. That was hilarious.
I was like, I don't know how they got through this. I was like, I wonder what like the blooper reels look like, because I know they had to do this like 20 times.
Man, we did that. We only did it once because he was hitting her so hard. Like, we were both shocked. Like, bruh, how you hitting your mama? And if you could look at the end of the video, he was mad when he spit the water out when it was done, because he wanted to hit her again. So no, we didn't even. We stopped playing after that. But we had one where me and her did it first. But I posted the one with him and her because it was way funnier than ours. Yeah.
And then my number 1 is gonna always be my number 1. I don't care how old it gets. Is the one when you got the straw hat on and you talking about the plantation cards.
Hey, that's coming back today. Part 2 come back today.
I was like, that's the one right there, yo. And you know what? Like when I first saw that one from you, that would put me on to like really learning about the history of cards. And that's when around that time, that's when I first got my first tobacco cards. And I sent them off to SGC to get graded. So those are my top 3, like Peter Pac-Man, like
the straw hat, Zulu Mail. Is that Zulu Mail? No, that's Plantation Mail. Plantation Mail. That's the N85 William
Yeah,
and Duke postage stamp. Yeah, Plantation Mail Part 2. When I get back from these little pictures, Plantation Mail Part 2. I'm gonna shoot it real quick. It'll probably be a one taker. Some of these things they take a lot of takes. This is gonna be a
yeah,
one taker for sure, and it's gonna ruffle some feathers for sure. But it's gonna be some humor and some more history behind it for sure. The reason why I haven't done it yet because I'm looking for the actual card. I don't know
yeah,
where I put the card. I always like having the card with me, but it doesn't need to be done for the scene because I'll have the
yeah.
hat, and people who have seen the first one will know, and people who haven't seen it, it don't matter. It'll still have the same kind of impact, and I'll make sure to post a card in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
I might show the first video and then right after the second
Yeah.
part. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's gonna be a doozy for sure. Who else we got here? The community of creators that agree to help each other build their channels. Put card community in search engine of YouTube and see that's all that pulls up. Okay.
I gotta
Okay.
write that down. Card Unity. Okay.
Okay. That's dope. That's the see. I didn't even know those type of communities existed. That's love.
See
That's
me, see
positive
me,
energy.
see me taking notes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Red drum. What's up with it? Red Drum and B and Brian in the chat saying what's up to each other. Brian said keep ruffling them feathers. They gonna fall where they fall.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right, sir. That's right. That's
The
right. That's right.
reality is this, right? We have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. And anybody who struggles with that, that just tells me you making it about you, and your next response to me is going to be an emotional one, and you haven't taken the time to listen to anything that I said, and that's what
Fact.
it boils down to. That's what it boils down to.
Hey, facts. Facts. What else we got here? Hey, yeah, B and Red Drum giving love in the chat. Hey, Sam, man, I hate to do this, but I got to go cut this little man hair like
No
right
worries.
now, expeditiously before I get my lights cut off in here, and then we really won't be able to do anything. But if you got some time later, we can hop back on. If not today,
Yeah,
another day for sure. Yeah, I got to cut us here.
part two next week.
Yeah, part 2 next week for sure, for sure.
But this is the great thing about CardFaxx. Unscripted, raw. You know, tune in.
Yeah,
I
that's how you know
appreciate
we
everybody.
value when family calling. That's it.
Yeah,
It's done. Got to
yeah.
go. Sorry. Tune in next
I
week.
appreciate everybody who stopped by.
Yep. With love. Always tap into the DMs on Instagram if y'all ever want to chat, have any questions. We appreciate y'all taking the time to be here spontaneously out your day. Now go to your loved ones and hug them, squeeze them, make them feel valued, or pick up that phone and make somebody feel valued because you are valuable yourself.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.